Hello and welcome back to Jack Knives Reviews. I'm of course your host, Jack Knives. And welcome once again to this year's JACK-O-WEEN. Considering last year was our 5th anniversary and I decided to do a review every single day, I decided to dial it back again this year and do just a few throughout the week. So what I'm going to do is select movies based off of 3 criteria, either classic, new, or random. And how do I select them randomly? Well, Ein actually picked them out for me. Isn't that right, Ein? And you're an adorable wizard at that. What he did was he randomly selected 4 movies that I will sprinkle throughout the month of October. They were placed on pieces of paper and put into our random skull of madness. Throughout each week, I will take a random movie that is in this skull, and I will review it. But for the remainder of the month, I will keep it on my shelf. So to start off our right foot forward, I figure we should start with the king of all horror, Boris Karloff, with a very underrated classic, The Man They Could Not Hang. Dr. Henrik Savard has possibly found the key to resurrecting the dead, but in the middle of an experiment from a volunteer, he is arrested and sentenced to hang. After using the same experiment on himself with the help of his assistant, he tricks all the people who wronged him to coming to a house of horrors and face their own mortality from the man they could not hang. What's so great about this movie is its ability to capture the best essences of Karloff. Karloff was so good at acting, not just in horror, in general. He brought a Shakespearean gravitas to every performance that he did. From something as simple as Frankenstein's monster to, of course, this movie. This is, in my opinion, peak Karloff. You get to see him doing his acting at his finest. The entire speech that he does in the court scene is one of his best speeches he's ever done. And it's proof of his mere presence in this film. This just sheer draw that he brought to every performance in any movie. His name alone bought and sold the movies because of his performance in each of them. Obviously, watching this movie, you may get vibes of Saw or The Abominable Dr. Phibes, which I would not be shocked if the concepts of these sort of torture madmen are based around this performance. However, I would argue that Dr. Savard is far more intimidating than Jigsaw. Why? Because Jigsaw is a lot more nuanced, trying to talk through puppets. His game is to play mind games with everyone else to try to do this mental superiority over them. Whereas Karloff, it's purely revenge. That's it. It's just pure revenge and purely trying to seek out vengeance for those that wronged him. Because, keep in mind, he is dead. He is a living corpse, essentially. And because of that, he has no regrets. He can't be tried for the same crime because he's already dead. So, it brings that kind of element of, if he could be brought back to life through this, then how many times could he be brought back to life? And I do love the devices within the house of horrors that play into this scenario, like an electric fence gate or some sort of poisoning or dagger through a phone. Things like that that are like, oh, that's so cool. But it has this kind of classical element too, where it doesn't show too much, but it shows just enough to get under your skin. And I love that kind of appeal. This is a great movie to show to people who are both fans of classic films and kind of want to see some good black and white horror films. It's definitely one I recommend to any fan of horror. Come back next week for another fun horror review on this year's JACK-O-WEEN.